guys, Tasha and Shamar here with Creative Canvas. Today we had a Freestyle Friday, and this is what I painted. We're going to call it Frosty Cabin Sunrise, just in case you were wondering. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy and paint along with us. Of course, as always, we'd love to see your painting, so make sure you share. Thanks for joining us. Here we go. Alright, so for Freestyle Friday, I kind of have an idea what we're going to paint, but like I said, it's freestyle, so it could change as we go. I'm going to just simply use a pencil to draw in my idea, and we'll see what we come up with. So first of all, I'm going to have a horizon line that goes right about the center of my canvas. I'm going to have this come across. I'm just going to lightly draw this in with my pencil. Okay, and then I would like to have some mountains up here. Just trying to keep them. Let's see, and these will probably change because they always do. And then maybe we'll bring one down here. And I kind of like that look, so I'm going to bring this one down here. There we go. Always be willing to change. So we got this nice little mountain thing going on in the background. Okay, here's my horizon line. I'm going to have some trees back here too, kind of shorter ones. Small ones to show distance. So they're all the way over on the other side there. So we'll have some trees. And I think we're going to put, let's come out here. I haven't decided if I'm going to have this just be like a snowy field or maybe I'll turn it into water. I don't know yet. But I'm going to have another line that comes right across in front of my horizon line, about like that. And then I want to put a little cabin out here. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to draw in a triangle here. See, I don't know how big I want it. I don't want it super big. This little triangle, just a simple triangle here, and then I'm going to form the roof. Come back just a little bit. Now this cabin's going to basically be buried in snow. So you want to make sure that these lines match up. This one in the background, to show your distance, is going to be a little shorter. This one in the front is going to be a little bit longer. And you're going to run this line back so you get this roof. And then from there, because it's going to be buried in the snow, I'm going to have a snow line that basically comes right up underneath the house there. So that'll be my snow line. And then I'll probably have a window here. And then this will come down here, and maybe we'll put like a, let's put like a little hill, a close-up hill. Maybe right down here in the front there. Comes down. And we'll have a couple taller trees on this side. Okay, maybe a bush right here out in the front, and then, oh, we can't forget our chimney on there. We have this chimney going up. I'd like to have like something real close here to show more perspective. Maybe a tree coming up through here. It's got some branches. Branches are hard. One that kind of flows off the page there. And we can show some snow on these branches. But other than that, I think that's it. There's my sketch. So now we're going to do this loosely. So I keep telling myself, keep it loose, keep it loose. I have a hard time doing that. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch flat brush. My paint selection is blue, cobalt blue, titanium white, Mars black, bright red, and cadmium yellow. Yes? Yes. Cadmium yellow. Those are my color selections. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start here up on the sky. Now obviously I'm going to end up covering up my trees here, but that's okay. Those were just to give me an idea. Now what I'm going to first do is wet my brush and do a dab on your paper towel. You just want to soften up the bristles for the most part. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just grab straight white to start, and I'm going to dab it all over up here in my sky. What this is going to do is it's going to help me as I go with my sky, because I want to do a colorful sky. It'll help me as I go to kind of blend the different colors together. I may end up having to do 2 coats, but we'll see. So I'm just going to make some dabs of white here and there. And then I'm going to start with a light blue. So first, I should have grabbed the white first, sorry guys. Again, I haven't done this before, I'm just going with the flow. Freestyle Friday. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that. I think a little bit more blue. And then I'd like to add just a little bit of this red. A little bit more blue. Okay, so we kind of got this pretty, almost a purpley color going on. Now I'm going to start on this side with this color. Okay, and I'm just going to go right above my mountains here. And as I go, it'll blend into the white and kind of create some different tones. So when I get about a third of the way across, what I'm going to do first, just kind of make sure we may be able to get away with 1 coat. So I'm trying to keep my brush marks nice and even here. I got that on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse my brush off a little bit. And I want to kind of create my next color, which is going to be a very light pink. So I'm going to grab a bunch of this white. And I'm going to grab a little tiny, you need very little. Tiny bit of that pink. Now my pink, I'm going to start it right in here. And it's going to kind of mend in with your white. We're going to take, oops, hang on. We're going to paint right around here in the center area. Just keep it right above your mountains. And bring it right up to your blue here. Now, I'm going to wipe my brush off on my paper towel. Just wipe kind of that excess paint off. And I'm going to come back over where these two meet. And I'm just going to lightly use my brush to kind of blend the two. So you get this nice little blended look here. Okay. So now I'm going to take just a bit more straight white and kind of come along here next to the pink and kind of go into the pink a little bit here. Just kind of blend that in. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want my next color over here to be have a little bit of a yellow, because I'm trying to create an idea that we've got either a setting sun or a sunrise going on this side. So I'm going to rinse my brush completely, grab some white, and then I'm going to take the tiniest little bit of yellow. You don't need much. Okay, and I do want a little bit of this pink in there to kind of give it like a little bit of a muted tone. I'm going to come up here right on this corner. I'm going to paint that in. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do a second coat just to get rid of my pencil marks. I'm going to lightly pull that color in to my pink. Okay, I like that. So we got this nice color thing going on the top. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I still have some of that blue mixed on my plate. And I'm gonna go ahead and take that blue. I'm gonna put it right down here below my horizon line. And I'm gonna fill that area in. I've decided to go with water. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but I like the idea of having a lake behind my cabin. Fill this side in too. Okay, we've got that on there. And now what I want to do is I'm going to make a lighter mountain color for the background. Now I'm just going to stick with this. I've got this color on my plate, and I'm just going to actually add a little bit more blue and a little bit more red to it. That was too much red. I always do that. Add a little bit more blue here. A little bit more white to tone that down. Okay, now I'm going to grab a touch of this black. Okay, so we have this kind of blue-gray color going on. Let me test it. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, now I'm going to outline where I want my mountains here. And I want to add a few more bumps to your mountains. You can add a few more bumps. Basically, this same concept, you can use it on just about any landscape painting you're doing. And this is going to come up here. Okay, I'm going to have to mix some more of that color. So I'm going to grab quite a bit of blue, a touch of red, some white. Red. Still have the color right there, so I'm trying to kind of get it down to that. I'm trying to mix more and a touch of black. Now you don't have to be exact, just get it close. Okay, let's try that out. Pretty dang close. Maybe a little bit more black to tone that down. And a touch of white. I'm just trying to get my mountains covered here. And as I come down, you can add just a little bit more white to it. Adding just a little bit of white to that color. And blend it kind of back up. What that does is it kind of shows that there's like maybe a mist at the bottom of your mountains. And we're almost out of this color, so that helps me make it last a little bit longer. Now I'm taking care to not lose my cabin. I don't really want to lose my cabin. Not that it was hard to draw, but now as I go, I'm kind of blending that back up into my mountains here. Now I am going to have some trees that most likely cover that area, but I got a little bit more left here. Okay. So we got this nice sky. We got some mountains going on here. It's looking pretty good. Now we're probably still going to have to add a second layer to that sky. But for now I'm going to let my mountains dry. And we're going to come on down here and get a layer of snow in down here. So I'm going to grab quite a bit of white here. It's going to be a color very similar to this. And some blue and some red. More blue. And I'm going to add a touch of black to it. Let's see what that's going to be. Might be. Close. Let's do just a little bit more blue and a little bit more black. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna do up a hill here that I don't necessarily want to lose, but I'm going to go ahead and paint in. This is the where my lake meets the land behind the cabin. So paint that in. This line kind of sort of falls along here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add just a touch of white to it. And then I'm going to come in and paint just so that I can see my separation here. And paint. It's going to be the snow in front of the cabin. Just want to get my first layer down. It's just a first layer. Okay, now I'm going to mix just a touch darker color, very similar to that. Blue, red, blue, touch of black, blue. Just, I don't want it too purpley, but I definitely don't want it too blue either, so there's kind of a nice mix. It's just kind of a nice mix between the two. Let's see, go maybe just a little bit more black. Okay, so this will be my little hill coming down. Just a little bit of a different color so that I know where it is. Lip on my thing is going to bug me. I'm going to have to fix that. A little bit more white to that. See if I can make that hold out a little bit longer. Let me adjust my canvas here. Okay, now I can get to the very bottom here. Put that in. And yes, it's a little bit whiter and that's okay. I just want to get that first layer on. Just kind of blend the color back up into your darker color. Okay, so now it appears our mountains are mostly dry. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. I'm also going to grab a separate plate because we're going to do our sky one more time. I feel like we need another layer up there, but I ran out of room on this plate, so I'm going to transfer some colors over to this plate. So to start, I'm going to grab some white. Now we won't need quite as much. Just a second layer sometimes covers a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just grabbing a tiny little bit of blue. Touch of this red. Way too much red, as usual. And a little bit more blue. Close, a little bit more blue. Nope, a little bit more blue. Okay, I think that's pretty close. A little bit more blue. Okay, there we go. I'm going to fill in right above my mountains once again. Bring it all the way over, about a third of the way. Okay, now I'm going to rinse. Now the quicker you do it, the better, so it doesn't have a chance to dry. Now I'm going to grab some of this white and I'm going to add a touch of red to it to create your pink. I want it to be a very muted pink. Okay. A little bit more red. Okay, there we go. And we're going to put that in just like we did before. And then once we get most of it off our brush, then we just kind of blend that in to our blue. Don't want a ton of paint on your brush when you do that. Okay. Now I want to create my yellow over there, so I need a little bit more white on my plate. Oop. Swear it was paint. And then I'm going to put that right into my pink here, and I'm just going to grab a touch of yellow, just a touch, and mix that in. It's pretty. I like that color actually. Maybe add just a little bit more white and another touch of yellow. Okay. Yep. And I'm just going to fill that in here. It's a little bit more pinky, but I actually like it a little bit better. Okay. Once we fill in that whole area, blend it softly into your pink. Very soft blends going on here. Nice and gentle. Okay. Our sky is complete. Okay, so we still got a little bit of this color left. Let's go ahead and add that to our waterline once again. I'm gonna have to mix more. I always do. I'm gonna go ahead and mix quite a bit here because we're gonna end up using some of it when we do our mountains as well. Blue. A little bit more blue. It's close. I want a little bit more blue. Okay. Now we're going to fill in our water once again.
I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small.
Second layer there. You're good, sis. Okay, so now I want to do a little bit of a second layer on our mountains. So I've got quite a bit of this color mix, so I'm just going to grab more blue, and a little bit more red. Way too much there. Grab quite a bit more blue here. It's going to get darker and darker. Just try and get as close to your color as you can. I'm mixing quite a bit here because I know we're going to need it. And I'm going to go a touch of black. Let's see how close we are. We're going to need more blue. And a touch more black. Let's see. As long as we're close enough, and that's close enough. So I'm going to come back in, re-identify my mountains here. Can make them bumpy. Mine are going to be real bumpy because I had quite a bit of coffee this morning. And we're just going to kind of paint that second coat on. Real loose like. Just trying to make sure that it's all well covered. Okay, and we can add a little bit more white to that. Now we're still going to be putting a tree line there, but for now, I just want to make sure that's covered good. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And what we can do now is, let's come down and get started. At least get a first layer on our little house here. Our little cabin. I forgot to grab, oh, no, we're good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is mix up a darker color that will be our house. So that's gonna be, I'm gonna grab some black and a little bit of blue. Can't see the blue real good. I'm going to grab a touch of white here. Okay, a little bit more blue. Let me see if that's going to work. That's pretty good. Okay, so this little triangle, I'm going to make this triangle this color, this dark color. I'm going to go ahead and paint over my little window. I know it's supposed to be there. And I will put it there. For now, I'm just trying to get my first layer for my cabin going. Okay, so over here I am going to have some snow built up, but I'm going to create what looks like the shadow underneath the roof. Just like that. Okay. And now what I want to do is come back to my snow over here. And I'm going, because there's going to be a lot of snow on this roof. So we're going to mix some more snow shadow colors down here. So I'm going to grab a bunch more white here. And I've already got this color kind of going on my plate over here. This is what we used on our mountains. I'm going to mix quite a bit of white in there because we want quite a bit this time. And I'm going to grab some blue, a little bit of red, just a little bit of red. I always grab way too much. You can kind of dot it off to the side until you make sure you got the right amount. More blue. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I think we're going to need to add a little bit of black to that. A little bit more blue. So just kind of another shadow color, very similar to this one down here. We're going to add this. This is going to be the snow on our roof. I'm actually going to add a little bit of white to that. I don't want it to blend too much with my background color going on there, so maybe we'll make that a little bit later. Okay, yeah, wait. It's really blending. I got too many different colors of snow going on. Okay, so I can see that. Hopefully you guys can too. I'm just gonna put that first little layer of snow in there. This will be the base for the roof. Okay. You're also gonna have some coming down this side. So I'm just gonna kind of create this idea that there's some snow on this side of the roof too. Okay, now with this color we can start adding some highlights to our snow. So I'm going to start on this kind of back area. We're going to add quite a bit more white to it though. Let's get some more white on there. Okay, there we go. So we've got kind of a snow highlight we're going to add to the back there, and we're just gonna randomly come back and forth adding this highlight in back there, creating the idea of texture. Okay, I'm going to continue that over on this side as well. Snow highlight. Okay, so now I'm going to come down here in front. I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to add just a bit more blue to it though. Just a bit. A little more white. It's kind of a, put it on there, see how you like it. If you like it, then keep going with it. Now this is the snow berm that's going to come right in front of the cabin. So creating the idea that there's some pretty thick snow here. Coming across there. And then same concept. We're going to kind of do this, create an area of texture. This is just kind of the first highlight, so we'll add a little bit more highlights. Just adding some snow bits where you want the shadows to be, and then where you want the snow to kind of light up, you can create little hills. Okay, remember we're going to have a hill here. So let's just get the background snow kind of figured out. And now, let's see, do I want to go lighter or darker? Let's go a bit brighter. Well, let's see. Sorry guys, can't make up my mind here. Let's start with this lighter highlight right up in front here. We're going to bring this is the same one we used back here. We're going to use it right in the front here. We're going to have multiple layers of snow, so just adding a little bit of texture here in the front. And maybe make this come up the hill a little bit here. And what we'll end up doing is doing like a real light, bright one down this little line here, so that we can keep that hill kind of separate. And add in a little bit. I'm doing this real loose, guys. There's not really. Now what I'm going to do is grab a bunch of this white. Kind of mix it off to the side down here. I'm going to come in, and this is going to be where my hill is. Kind of smooth that out into there. It's not just one straight line. You're going to have the side of the hill that's kind of brighter because it's highlighted by the sky. Okay, so we've got this little hill. And then maybe pull that highlight towards you in a couple of areas. Okay, now I'm going to take that brighter highlight and I'm going to put it on the roof of our cabin. Create just a bit of a highlight here. A little bit more white to that. Because it's not, the sun isn't fully exposed, so just got to kind of keep, there's a hint of a highlight, but it's not a full one. That's what I'm going with. This is what I freestyling today. More highlight to that. Now I'm leaving a little bit of this darker snow right down here at the base, so right there and right at the front of the eave here, so it shows maybe a couple layers. I'm going to come along just the top part of this outer snow on the other edge of the roof. Okay, so I'm also going to use this color to create kind of a real bright highlight on the very edge of that, and just less of it, just a little bit here and there, creating the idea of these highlights back there. And then some of this is going to be shadowed. I'm going to bring this highlight in. Well, first we're going to do it back here, and then we're going to bring some in right in through here to show off that separated. Because I can talk this morning. Snow burn coming right in front. I may add a little bit more highlight to that. So just here and there, add a little bit more of this highlight. Less of it. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a good start for our snow. Now what I want to do is I would like to add a few highlights to our mountains up there in the background, and then we're going to do a quick tree line back there, and then we'll get some trees put in and moving right along. But first I'm going to take a quick dry break and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. We're ready to add some highlights to our mountains. I'm sticking so far with my 1/2-inch flat brush. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try to create somewhat of that same mountain color in the background, and then we're going to go a touch lighter. Our highlights aren't going to be super bright. I'm going to need some more white on my plate. They're just going to be a hint of a highlight. So I'm going to grab some blue, a little bit of red. Mix that up, blue and a little bit of red, a little bit more blue, add a little white to that, a little more white. We're going to add a touch of black in there, so you want just a touch more, maybe not, that's pretty close. Okay, so now what we want to do is go just a little bit lighter. Got a dry spot right here, so I'm just going to move some of this over there. I'm going to grab a little bit of white, mix that in. That's pretty close. So let's just try that up here, just on the edge. No, we're going to want a little bit more white. Now I'm going to wipe some of this paint off my brush. I got way too much on there. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That's pretty light. I mean, hard to see, so I'm going to grab just a little bit more white. I want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to create just the idea that there's some highlights on the edge of these mountains. I'm just using the flat of my brush to kind of come down, create this highlight. Add a little bit more white to it because there's snow in these mountains. And just kind of pulling your brush down in different areas to kind of create the idea here. And come up on this edge. The idea is my light source is kind of on this side, so I'm going to mostly keep my highlights to that side. You can see I pull it down and then I pull it across, just kind of creating these different ideas of slopes. We could maybe put some more slopes in over here. And then up here, because we want to have some highlights on this side, so just go ahead and create some highlights coming off to this side. And we need this one right down there. And what we can do is, we'll use this as kind of like our shadow highlight. Add some more right in here. And we can bring some over on this side too. So I'm real loose with it. Put some more in on this side. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to do, because that's pretty much it, is I'm going to add quite a bit more white to that. I'm running out of space. And just on the very edge, I'm going to add some of this white. And in just a few spots here. There we go. My mountains are done. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to have this tree line back here. And to do that, I'm actually going to go back to this color. And I'm going to add some black to it. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this color, I'll move it down here, and grab some black. Actually, I'll just mix it right in here because I'm going to need quite a bit of this. A little bit more black. Check that out. That looks pretty good. Okay, so for my tree highlights, I'm going to be using my brush in this angle, and I'm just, or my tree highlights, sorry, my ideas of trees. I'm just going to be creating this idea of a tree line back there. A little bit too much water. Don't worry about this area down below here. We're going to be adding. We're going to fix that line up once we're done with our trees. So if you go a little bit over that, that's okay. Now when you get to your cabin, just want to be careful not to, we're going to be adding another highlight over the top of it, so if you kind of go into your cabin area, that's okay. So here's my real easy way to kind of create a tree line. across. Maybe mix a little bit more paint here. A little bit more black to that. And just keep on going. Once you have it all the way across, you can come back and kind of touch up some of the areas where you can still see the blue through it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that same color and I'm going to come in right at the base here. And I'm going to create my water line again. I might come down just a bit to kind of cover where I got messy. My horizon line. I got real messy over here. Whoops. I'll have to fix that too. Sorry, now my arm's in the way. Okay. So we have our first little layer there. Just kind of touch up the areas again where you see canvas or blue. The smoother you can get it, the better. You don't have to go back and make a second layer. I like that. Looks good. So next, let's see, what do I want to do next? I think we'll create, let's go ahead and put our trees in up front because I want to have at least one, maybe two trees right here. So kind of using the same color scheme. I'm just going to add a bunch of black to it. It's going to be darker because it's real close. So we're going to go ahead and add that to it. Now, I'm going to have my tree coming. I wonder if I'm going to have it. Yeah, go right down, straight down to my hill here. Okay, so I'm going to create this tree first and then I'll decide whether or not I want a second one. So just using just the corner of my brush, I'm going to start at the top. And it's going to be a pine tree. So I'm going to start kind of dabbing to make the idea of a pine tree. Now I'm going to add a little bit of snow, I think, to this tree. So as I come down, I go skinny first on top, as skinny as I can. I can always add, can't take it away. And they don't have to be perfect. Most pine trees are not. In fact, they have bare spots. So as you're coming down, I'm just kind of dabbing the idea of these limbs and boughs on there. A little bit more black. Bring it all the way down. There we go. Nice little tree sitting on our hill. I don't think I want another one. I think I like it. I think it's perfect. I don't need another tree. So we're going to leave that one there. I'm going to also use this color to add just a little bit of a second layer over here into my triangle. Kind of darken that up a little bit. And you can come in and if you still have that shadow there, have that shadow underneath. And now, I did kind of like the idea of having a tree branch coming up over here. So I think I'm going to keep with that. So let's see, this one's going to be a little bit closer. So I'm just going to like the idea of it disappearing off of my canvas. So I'm just going to come up and go skinnier as I come up. Pull that area in. And a little bit more paint over here. More black, basically. I'm just kind of darkening it up because it's closer to me. Cleaning that out. Fill that in, and then I'll add some tree branches. Now I'm still doing the 1/2 inch flat here. If you're more comfortable with a smaller brush, you can switch to that. I'm going to bring this all the way down so you can see it's going to end right in here. We'll come back and add some snow to the base of that for now. Now, for a tree branch, I think I'm going to have one right in over here. So I start skinny. And just add a little bit more to it. A little bit more paint higher. Okay. And then maybe I'll put one right up over here. Hopefully you can't hear my stomach growling right about now. It always does that right about this time. I'm just thicken this up just a little bit. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now, what shall we do next here? Let's go ahead and add some highlights to our tree over here. So what we want to do is we're going to come up with basically another bit of snow. We're going to add a little bit of snow to the edge. I'm not going to go crazy with snow. I'm going to try and I always say that. I always say I'm not going to add that much snow to this, but then in the end I always end up going big. Okay, so what do I have left on my plate? I've got some random colors here. I still got a little bit of this mixture, which is the blue and the red and the white with a little bit of black, and that's actually a pretty good color right there. Let's see what that looks like on my tree. I'm just going to kind of dab some snow on there. That's a pretty good start. Maybe a little bit more black. Going to be the shadows now. And I'm just using the corner of my brush to kind of dab the snow on there. I'm just kind of skipping some areas, imagining where my tree boughs are. I'm going to add some to both sides. So what are you basically going to do it on both sides? I'm just dabbing with the corner of my brush. Again with this, you can hear it, can't you?
Yes.
Shmora's sitting there giggling because she can totally hear my stomach growling. Okay, so it's pretty good. Now, let's go ahead and I want to create a little bit more of a highlighted color for my snow. So, I've already got this spot going on. Let's go ahead and grab, my white's contaminated, but I'm going to grab some of it anyways and mix it into that. Okay, now I'm going to see how bright that is. It's about the same as this highlight here. So let's actually take it a touch more. I'm going to rinse my brush because I got some black on there. And I'm going to need some fresh white. Okay, I want this highlight to have a little bit of a pink hue to it because it's reflecting the sky colors. So I'm going to grab it and mix it into that spot. Whoops, I got a little bit of the other color in there. I got a messy plate. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of this red. Just a little bit. I got way too much on my brush. Let's mix that in. Yeah, see, way too much every time. Okay, that's pretty good. It's just a very light pink hue to it. Let's try that on the top here. Yep, that's a good highlight. Now I'm only going to do these highlights on the one side of the tree, where I'm imagining my light source is coming from. I'm just going to do it right over the top of the, I don't want to completely cover the other snow. I just want to add it as a top layer to that shadow snow. Wowzers. Stomach quiet. Okay, so now we have that highlight. Now I'm going to use this same highlight to kind of come down the edge of our hill as well, to create the idea of the light hitting that. And then we're going to add that kind of randomly in a few little spots here. And I'm also going to add it to the top of my, I can fix the roof of my cabin. I'm going to bring that down. And as I bring it down, I'm just kind of doing mostly on this edge here. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and put it in a few other areas. Let's put it right along here. I'm going to imagine that there's kind of a shadow over here. So it's not going to be so much right next to the cabin, maybe off to this side a little bit. And I'll create this little area here. And I'm going to go right up to the edge where we're at the water and create that highlight. Maybe just a little tiny touch of something there. Okay, those are some nice highlights. I like those. I may even go a touch brighter because yeah, they always seem to blend in a little bit. Okay, so I've still got my pink here. I'm just going to create another spot right here. I'm going to grab quite a bit of white. Just barely mix it into that color. Okay, I'm going to go right on the top of my cabin here. Bring it down that side. Kind of dabbing it here and there, just like that. And then with that really bright color, add it to the right there in the edge. A couple of spots here and there. Don't. I'm gonna have to break for lunch. That's all there is to it because my stomach is not gonna stop doing that. I even ate breakfast, and I don't normally eat much.
I don't have much. Do you want a granola bar?
I've got one. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to create kind of a straighter line back here. Or I'm using the same highlight color, and I'm just kind of dabbing this in along the shoreline. I'm trying to keep a straight line across. Just kind of dabbing that in. fixing where I got super messy here. Use my finger there. And then kind of create just some spots where there's maybe movement in the water, or it could be ice. And then what I want to do is add some of that pink as well. And we might even want to make it even pinker. So I've got my white on here. I've got a little bit of red still up here. So I'm going to make a nice pink. I'm just going to add a few little highlights to the water. It's reflecting the sky. Just like that. I'm going to leave that. Now what we want to do is we want to add some highlights to our tree coming up there. So, kind of got, nope, that's dry. Okay, so I'm going to mix my blue and a little bit of red in there. Let's grab some blue. Okay, and then we're going to mix some black with that. Kind of make our darker color here. Here's our darker color. Now we're going to add a little bit of white. Blue, white, a little more blue. Okay. I'm going to come up and along this edge of my tree, I'm going to add this highlight. I'm going to kind of come across the tree. I'm using just the flat edge of my brush. Kind of pull it in. It's very subdued. This is like the shadow highlight. Just kind of creating some texture on my tree. Up and down, idea of some bark there. I'm going to leave mostly this edge pretty dark, so I'm not going to touch that edge, but I'm going to come in a little ways. Okay, I'm going to use this up here on my, this is where maybe a smaller brush would help, but I'm going to be stubborn. And I'm going to add it to the top of this, and then we'll do another, that's pretty dark. But with this color, let's see, we're going to go a little bit lighter here. So let's go ahead and add some more white to that. Same thing, we're just not going to go quite as far in. And I'll be just going to come along this edge here. And now with this color, I'm gonna imagine that there's a shadow, but I'm also gonna imagine that there's an area that's a little bit more lit up. Just lightly brush on some of this color. And if you get a little too much in there, you can grab some black, which I kind of did, and come back into here. Just pull that shadow back in. Okay, so we kind of have a lighter area there. And now what I want to do is I'm going to mix up this snow color one more time. I'm going to add some snow to our tree. I'm tempted to add, I need to add a window I think, but I haven't decided yet on that, so I'm going to leave that for last. So let's go ahead and find a clean spot. I've got a spot right here. We got some blue mixed into our white, so we're just going to use that. And I'm going to add a little bit of this darker color. A little bit of gray, kind of create that shadow snow. And we're going to come right in underneath our tree. And we're going to add some snow. Okay, now we're also going to add, I'm going to add some snow right up here. Some snow that got maybe stuck right in the crook of the tree. And maybe up on the limb a little bit. We're going to do the same thing here. You can pile it high if you want. So we got a little snow there. I'm going to add a little bit more white to that. And just right on top, add just a little bit of the highlight stuff. You're not going to be able to see it real well up here unless you go almost white. So we're going to go with white and just add a little bit of highlight there. Okay. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do for my window. Let's see. I want it to be dark. I don't want it to be really bright. So I'm going to come back down here to this color. First I'm going to rinse my brush. What I might do is we'll do like a darker window. Let's see if I got a smaller brush here. Now you can use a 1/4 inch flat. I'm going to skip to a 1/4 inch flat for this because I need a little bit smaller. So I've got a 1/4 inch flat. I'm going to grab some black. Have this spot right here. This darker color. You can mix it in a little bit. It doesn't have to be straight black. And I'm going to create a window here. Just like that. Only I should have started it. That's alright, I'll do that big. Okay, and then if you want like the top of the door, you could do that. And fill that in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take some of this highlight color that I got here, and mix it up with my black, and just on the inside of that square I'm going to come through and add another square, so it looks like the darker is kind of the windowsill around. And then here on the door I'm going to just add some highlights to it, dab on some highlights. So it's not quite so in your face. I want it to blend really well. Just be an idea there. Okay, kind of like that. Let's see here. Got some more of this lighter color. I'm gonna fix this edge here. And then the other thing I wanted to do, since I still have some shadow still on here, and a little messy. I don't want my door to be quite that tall. So I'll come in and fix that up. Okay, so the only other thing I want to do is I've got some shadow snow still on my plate here. Well, sort of. I'm going to add more blue to that. There we go. That color there. I'm trying to match this shadow snow that you see underneath. So I'm going to fix this edge here. And then I kind of want the snow coming down in some areas. See how it's just kind of coming off the roof? I wanted to do that. Icicles. And then we're going to put just a little bit of snow here on this windowsill. Not even all too much. And maybe top there. There we go. I think that pretty much sums it up. I might grab a little bit more of a highlight color on this side and add that. So I'm just mixing a lighter color with my gray. Let's see, is that lighter? Oh, a little bit lighter. So I'm going to grab some white, mix that in. Okay. Just add a little bit of a highlight here where it blends. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Now if you wanted to brighten up your highlights, you could just grab some straight white. Oh, I forgot about my chimney. I have to have a chimney, so I'm going to grab some of this gray, this lighter gray. I'm going to create a chimney coming up like that. Now I want to add some highlights to that so you can see it. So I'm going to add highlight to this edge here. There we go. And now I have very little paint on my brush. Let's rinse it off a little bit. We'll do a little bit of a smoke thing coming up from our chimney. So I want just this gray. And I don't want much on my brush. Just a little tiny bit. I'm gonna have to lighten that up a little bit so it shows up. So we'll just grab some more white here. And let's fix our highlight first. So I got crazy with it. And then this can go on top there. And then we'll have just a little bit of smoke blowing up. There we go. Smoke coming up. I'm gonna rinse my brush, grab just some straight white, and add that to a couple of spots. Got a little bit of white right here. So the top of this, I'm gonna add it up there, kind of stick-like. Give it a little texture. And I'm kind of clobbering it on there because I want it to be bright.
I got temperature again.
Okay, we're almost done. Okay, and a couple spots on my tree. Maybe right up here. Oh, wherever you want to, wherever you think it needs to go. But other than that, guys, that is it. I'm done. I'm ready to sign my painting. I'm gonna grab whatever I have left on my plate. With a little bit of white and come in right down here. Tasha.
Are you sure that's your name?
I think so. That's it, guys. Now you guys can make this your own in so many different ways. You can add more trees, you can move the cabin, whatever you want to. But this is our, what did we call it, Freestyle Friday painting? I haven't come up with a name, but by the time I do the intro, I will. So thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more painting tutorials. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye.